Welcome in to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always, I mean always, he means always, they mean always, you mean always, she means always, an instant classic.
Danny Dunn! Hi, JJJ.
We will see you on the flippity dippity. Oh yeah.
Alright everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Juggernaut Retro Reviews. And today I am continuing my Judgment Day reviews for the month of May, and I might as well just continue just reviewing all the Judgment Days, even if it floats over into June. I'm going to review those also. I'm just going to get all these whipped out, might as well. So, we're talking about Judgment Day 2004, which took place on May 16th at the Staples Center in Los Angeles, California. And the attendance for the show was 18,722, and the buy rate for the show was 235,000. So, during this time, they just recently got, in 2004, they had the first ever draft going on. So, a lot of characters got moved around, teams got broken up. So that was their first ever draft that they were doing at this point. And I felt like on the SmackDown brand, they were doing a lot of experimental stuff. Like with Mordecai and Rene Dupree, seeing what stuff sticked and what other stuff didn't. Or what stuff stuck and what other stuff didn't. Which there was a lot of things that didn't stick on the SmackDown side, but they kind of got tucked away over there. They can kind of experiment over there to see hey, are they gonna get over or are they not gonna get over? But let's quit wasting any time and let's go ahead and get started with this review. So the first match that we get started off with is a tag team match. Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam go up against the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon. I thought this was a really good match, a really good opener. And like I said, the show was from Los Angeles, California, so close to Rey Mysterio's hometown of San Diego, California. So the crowd was really behind Rey Mysterio in this match and Rob Van Dam, and the crowd was hot the whole night. Los Angeles is a great place to go. I feel like they always have good crowds for all their shows. But at this point, so Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam, they recently just got paired up as a tag team at this point. Because Rob Van Dam came over to SmackDown in the draft, and they really didn't have anything going for them. I mean, so we had Rey Mysterio in the feud with Chavo, which I don't know why that feud just got stopped, which I thought was weird. Which I'll talk about more about RVD later here. Yeah, so we have, like I said, Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam weren't doing really much right now. And eventually they would go on to win the tag team titles together. But about this match here, I thought this match was decent here. Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio, they both have a, very unique style, very high-flying, oriented. There was this one spot I liked in the match where Rob Van Dam popped Rey Mysterio up to the second, to the top turnbuckle. To the top rope, while I think it was Bubba Ray who was sitting up there, and Rey Mysterio did the Hurricane Rana. I thought that was a really cool spot in the match. The match got about 15 minutes. I thought it was a decent match. All guys worked very well together. The ending came when Rey Mysterio hit a double 619, and then Rob Van Dam hit a 5-star frog splash on the top rope to get the 1-2-3. So the winners of the match here were Rob Van Dam and Rey Mysterio. But yeah, I thought it was a decent opener, really got the crowd going, and I thought it was decent. And then the next match we had was Tori Wilson going up against Dawn Marie. So, before this match, we had Kurt Angle coming out, and basically Kurt Angle was blaming Tori Wilson. Why? Because at this time, Kurt Angle had an injury going, and also Kurt Angle was the GM. Because Paul Heyman, he got drafted over to Raw. So they were out without a GM, so they put Kurt Angle in the GM spot. And also Brock Lesnar at this time, he split from WWE because he didn't like after he beat, Goldberg at Mania, he really wasn't liking the way the writing team was doing things and like the way he was getting booked. So Brock Lesnar split. But like I said about this match, so Kurt Angle came out before this match and basically said, "Hey, you're the reason why you're the reason why I'm injured." And so he says, "If you don't win this match, then this is your last match in WWE. You're fired." So, kind of added a little bit more stipulation to this match here. Really short match, really short match here. When I'm looking at the match these matches on Wikipedia, the time looks really bad. Like the timing of these matches, I look at it like 26 minutes. I go like, that did not get that much time, which it didn't get that much time. It was like a 3-4 minute match. Tori Wilson ends up winning the match. Both these women, really weren't really good in the ring. But, they were good on the eyes, though. Tori Wilson, she's one of my favorite women to look at, in my personal opinion. But yeah, Tori Wilson won by a backslide, so she was still around in WWE. We even had, like, a wardrobe malfunction with Dawn Marie, like her, her ass came out. And, that was kind of cool to look at, if you're a male fan. Like, if you're a male, it's alright to see. But it was not a very good match at all, though, to be honest. And then the next match we had was Mordecai going up against Scotty 2 Hotty, which this was the debut of Mordecai. Like I said, during this time, we had a lot of wrestlers leaving. Goldberg was gone. Brock Lesnar split. So they were trying to build some new stars on here. And Mordecai was one of them. Also, he was known later on down the road. He was known as I'm trying to figure it out. Kevin Thornton, ECW, WWE's ECW, which that really didn't go anywhere much. But it's all better than this character here, and it kind of reminds me of like a little bit of an Undertaker character, very demonic or very supernatural type of character. That's what this felt like to me. I felt like this. I think that they were like supposed to have a feud with Mordecai and Undertaker. Eventually have Mordecai get fed to Taker, but that it didn't. Mordecai didn't really go anywhere. Like he was there for a few months, and then he just didn't really go anywhere. This was essentially kind of a squash match. Scotty 2 Hotty tried getting some offense in, like he even tried hitting the worm, but just nothing really worked out for Scotty 2 Hotty, and Mordecai won by it was kind of like by Razor's Edge, but I can't remember what the heck his finisher was called, what they were calling it. It's basically a Razor's Edge, and there's this guy up front row, like he was mocking the whole Razor Ramon gimmick, where it's kind of hard to explain, but he was like doing like mocking Razor Ramon, because that's what the finisher looked like to me. Like I said, I thought it was decent for what it was, but like I said, Mordecai never really went anywhere in WWE. And like I said, later on, he was known as Charlie Haas. Charlie Haas. Sorry, blanking out right now. Kevin Thornton, sorry. Next match we have is the tag team match for the WWE Tag Team Championships. We had Charlie Haas and Rico defending the titles against Billy Gunn and Hardcore Holly. So this was quite an odd pairing for both teams, in my opinion, because Billy Gunn and Hardcore Holly, I never really saw them as a tag team, and then Charlie Haas and Rico. That was kind of a weird tag team as well. And then also Miss Jackie was in the corner of Rico and Charlie Haas, and Rico and Miss Jackie, they were going up this platform, or up this platform thing, posing, doing posing stuff. And then Charlie Haas, he was about to go up it, but he kind of had a fear of going up. But I don't know the whole storyline behind that. So if anybody wants to go in the comments and explain why Charlie Haas didn't want to go up that platform, that'd be awesome. And Rico's gimmick, I really wasn't a big fan of his gimmick. He was doing very sus stuff. being very what's the word I'm trying to look for? I mean, being in 2022, very like sexual type of stuff against his opponents, which I'm not a big fan of that. Especially like with two guys, I'm not a big fan of like. I mean, hey, if you float that way, if you float that way, okay. I'm not judging anybody, but this wasn't really for me here with Rico's gimmick. I wasn't a big fan of, and these gimmicks really never got over in WWE. These like these feminine, like these wrestlers that are males and acting like feminine wrestlers. There we go. That's good. Like being very horny type of wrestlers. I don't know where I'm trying to go with this. But in the end, Charlie Haas and Rico retain. This match went on for a little more than my liking. I think it was by a sunset flip onto Hardcore Holly, if I'm not mistaken. Charlie Haas, like they did a thrust kick into sunset flip, and they retained the title. Charlie Haas and Rico retained titles. Like I said, just a couple odd pairings. This match was not as good as the opener, in my opinion. It just wasn't. But I mean, they tried here. And then the next match we had was a singles match for the Cruiserweight Championship. It was an intergender match. We had Chavo Guerrero going up against Jacqueline, which was she was the Cruiserweight Champion at this point. Because like a few weeks before on SmackDown, Chavo Guerrero said, "Hey, I'm laying out an open challenge to anybody who wants to come out face me," and it was Jacqueline who came out. And also the stipulation here was Chavo Guerrero had to have his one arm tied behind his back, and also Chavo Classic was in the corner of Chavo Guerrero here. So yeah, I mean, this was a very short match also. I mean, a lot of dominance from Chavo Guerrero. He did a lot of cheating, like when the referee had his back turned, like when Chavo Classic was distracting the referee quite a bit during this match. Chavo would take his arm out because like he got his arm untied. So and during the match, like he was like, "Oh yeah, my arm's still behind. One arm is behind my back still," which he didn't have it tied up anymore. So, you know, he was still trying to sell that when the referee turned his back and stuff. But yeah, like I said, when the referee's back was turned, he got both of his hands out and then he, beat down Jacqueline. Yeah, this intergender match didn't go over very well. And, like, I didn't really like the gimmicky match here with having one arm tied behind your back. I mean, Chavo Guerrero hit, like, a power bomb onto Jacqueline and then hit, like, a gory special, gory bomb. Then got the 1-2-3 over Jacqueline to retain the Cruiserweight Championship here. Like I said, I mean, I don't think that Chavo Guerrero should have even lost I don't even know why they did this feud in the first place. They should have still continued with the Rey Mysterio and Chavo Guerrero feud, because they would eventually resume that back, at the Great American Bash in June. Or was it June or July? I can't remember. It was one of those months. But I feel like they should have continued that feud rather than having this, because this feud went basically nowhere. But yeah, Chavo Guerrero regained the Cruiserweight Championship. And then the next match we had was the WWE United States Championship on the line. John Cena was defending the title against Rene Dupree. And, Rene Dupree, he was formerly in the tag team of the La Resistance. Which that team, like I said, in multiple reviews I have done in the past here. La Resistance was your tag team, your generic WWE tag team that wasn't very good. I was never a big fan of La Resistance. Even when they won the tag team titles, I wasn't a fan of them at all. And John Cena, he was over at this point because he was doing the Doctor of Thugonomics gimmick still. Like I said, he was United States champion, and like he was wearing this worthy jersey for the Lakers because they were in Los Angeles. So John Cena got really big pops at the show, and like the whole storyline behind this feud was Like basically, Rene Dupree is like a Frenchman, and like he was, saying that America doesn't respect him, and like he doesn't really have any respect for America and all that. Kind of disrespecting America. United States versus a different country. We've seen this feud many times before in WWE. We've seen it many times before, which is quite overdone. Well, yeah, like I said, which is quite overdone here. Like they had like a tea thing with Rene Dupree, and then Tori Wilson came out, and then Tori Wilson got beat up by Rene Dupree like on a SmackDown, and then that's when John Cena got brought into the feud here. That's when Cena got brought into the feud here, and that's how this got started here. It was a decent match. I mean, Cena would end up winning the match by a FU. Back and forth between both guys, and Rene Dupree, I'll put him also in the like experimental, like they were trying to experiment with Rene Dupree. Which I mean, he lasted longer than like Mordecai, and lasted longer with. They did like a vignette for his name is Suzuki. I can't remember his first name, but it was for Suzuki, which he never really far. So I mean, Rene Dupree, he was getting quite a bit of heat on him during this match, just for being like a Frenchman. Yeah, I mean, I like the rap that John Cena did before this match. He's saying, "You beating me? Ah, man, I ain't worthy. You're not worthy," and because doing like his wordplay, with being in Los Angeles, and he says, "You about to lose like the San Antonio Spurs lost to the Lakers." And like Cena got a big pop out of that, so I thought that I liked the basketball references that he was doing. But yeah, Cena won the match. And even Rene Dupree even tried mocking the 5-knuckle shuffle, like he did his like little French dance he does, and then he tried to do the elbow, but Cena moved out of the way. But I mean, like I said, it was decent for what it was, nothing special. So yeah, next match we're going to move on to is The Undertaker going up against Booker T. So at this point, The Undertaker, he brought back the Phenom gimmick. He just recently brought this back. He wasn't known as the American Badass anymore. And Booker T, like I said, he just recently got traded over to SmackDown in the draft. Which, he just, recently lost the tag team titles with Rob Van Dam. So I think it would have, and he turned heel on RVD. Which I think would have made sense to continue the feud with Rob Van Dam and Booker T. But like I said, at this point, they wanted to go with Brock Lesnar and Booker. Not Brock Lesnar, Booker T. They wanted to go with Undertaker and Brock Lesnar. But like I said, Brock Lesnar, at this point, he left WWE. Because they were supposed to feed him to The Undertaker. Which, they done this feud many times. They did it back in 2002, which was a good feud. And then they did it at 2003, back in 03. And then they wanted to do it in 04 here. Which, I understand where Brock Lesnar's coming from. Been there, done that, type of thing. Type of situation. He just didn't want to be fed to the Taker here. So they brought Booker T in to be the replacement here. I thought this was an alright match here. So I really understand where Brock Lesnar was coming from. Like he said, been there, done that type of situation. But yeah, so like Booker T was a replacement for The Undertaker. I thought this was a decent match. On paper it looked decent. And the whole stuff that Booker T was doing during this time here, he was kind of doing some hocus pocus type of stuff here, kind of like, protect himself from The Undertaker and all that. And Undertaker, he was doing some very demonly type of stuff, or like very supernatural things, which I thought were good. And commentary was like playing it up, like saying, "Oh, this is a rare occasion to see The Undertaker." So apparently at this time, Undertaker wasn't on TV as much, on SmackDown as much. And like I said, he brought back the Phenom gimmick. But in the end, Undertaker would ultimately win the match here by a Tombstone pile driver. I mean, the fans were so behind Undertaker here. He's getting over so much. of course. Yeah, I mean, there were even some points where Booker T, he tried working on the leg of the Undertaker. He even hit his scissors kick, but there was a point where Undertaker didn't even sell the scissors kick that Undertaker took. Yeah, Undertaker didn't even sell the scissors kick. He even hit Old School in this match, so I thought it was good. A very brawling style match here. But like I said, Undertaker would eventually win the match here by Tombstone Piledriver. And then the next match we have is the main event for the WWE Championship. We had John Bradshaw Layfield going up against Eddie Guerrero. So JBL going up against Eddie Guerrero. Excuse me. So Eddie Guerrero, he was the WWE Champion at this point. I thought this was a good match. So JBL, this is a resurgent with his career. He was going as Bradshaw, but now he's going as JBL. Being this more rich man, being about himself more, and doing a lot of investments and things. And it really showed in his character and stuff. And like I said, with a lot of characters gone now and on SmackDown, they really had to build some new stars, and JBL was one of them. Surging JBL's career here. And like the whole feud behind this was they did like a thing at a house show with like Eddie Guerrero's family, and then Eddie Guerrero's mother had like a heart attack. I don't know if that was kayfabed or not. I think it was kayfabed, because I wouldn't talk about, if it was me, I wouldn't talk about anybody's mother if they had a heart attack at a show. So I think it was kayfabed. But yeah, that kind of added a wrinkle into this feud here. And like JBL just being that cocky heel he is. This was a very brutal match, a lot of brawling, at the beginning of the match. We even had a few ref bumps in the match here. I mean, when the ref went down, it was Brian Hebner, little Brian Hebner was refereeing the match, which he's a very hard referee. Like, he's very strict in the ring, which he was doing that here. But yeah, he took a pretty good ref bump from JBL in the match here. Or maybe it's from Eddie. No, yeah, I think it was from Eddie. Yeah, Eddie was going for something, and then Brian Hebner got beat up here. And then they spill it to the outside. JBL and Eddie spill it to the outside of the ring, and then JBL grabs a chair by the announce table and hits it over the head, which just made me cringe. Seeing still chair shots to the head just made me cringe. And Eddie Guerrero just starts gushing out blood. It just looked really disgusting. It looked really bad. It just looked really bad. Like, he was bleeding, like Eddie Guerrero was bleeding like a fountain. That's how bad this looked. And then so Eddie Guerrero, he's bleeding a lot. We even saw JBL get choked a little bit during this match, with some of the cords around ringside. Like I said, just a very brutal match, very brawling style match. And the mat got very, very bloody here. It was so bloody. We even had Charles Robinson come out, as the second referee, and he got taken out by JBL. He got, I think it was clothesline from hell. I think that's what he took from JBL. And Eddie Guerrero, he just kept fighting back. He tried going for the frog splash. He wasn't able to hit that. He hit a few of the his suplexes, or his the three amigos. He hit a few of those a little bit. He didn't hit the three amigos, but he hit a couple of them. A couple suplexes. But yeah, not Rey Mysterio. Eddie Guerrero, he just kept on fighting back until eventually it was JBL. He couldn't beat Eddie Guerrero, so he had to go out and he grabbed the steel chair, and then he also grabbed the title belt, because he wanted the bring in the chair, and then the referee took the chair out, and then JBL was getting ready to hit Eddie Guerrero with the title belt, and then Eddie Guerrero low blowed JBL, And then when the referee was looking, Eddie Guerrero hit JBL with the title belt, the WWE Championship, and got himself disqualified. So the winner of the match was JBL by disqualification. So still the WWE Champion was Eddie Guerrero. And then after the match, Eddie Guerrero just continued to beat up JBL more. Just kept hitting JBL with the title belt. And JBL, he started gushing out blood quite a bit. He was bleeding a lot. We even had to have more referees come out and officials really try to break up this fight here between JBL and Eddie Guerrero. And in the end, it shows Eddie Guerrero standing tall. But I understand, why they ended up going with it like a disqualification, because, they didn't want to make JBL lose after, doing a whole resurgence with his career. And at the next SmackDown pay-per-view, he won the title, which they did that strap match, which I think I did review that show, that Great American Bash 04. So if you guys want to check that out, you guys can. But yeah, at the end of the shows, Eddie Guerrero standing tall, with the title belt, even though he did lose the match by DQ. I thought it was, pretty decent for what they were going with here. And the blood spots actually made sense. They really made sense here. But yeah, that was Judgment Day 2004, though. That was my review for 04. I thought it was a decent show. I mean, definitely check out this main event. Undertaker and Booker T is alright. John Cena and Rene Dupree, you can check out that match. The opener is good. Other than that, those are the good matches to check out. Like the tag team match at the opener with Rey Mysterio and Rob Van Dam going up against the Dudleys. Check out that. Check out John Cena, Rene Dupree. That was a good match. John Cena, I just said that. Undertaker and Booker T. And then the main event with John Bradshaw Layfield and Eddie Guerrero. But yeah, that was my review here, guys. If this is your first time checking out my channel, hit that subscribe button. That really helped me out a lot. Also, go follow me on all my social media platforms. Go follow me on Twitter at TheTrueJSB and Instagram, TheTrueJSB. As both those are the same thing. And also go subscribe to the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast, the only podcast that is always an instant classic. I mean an instant classic. She means an instant classic. You mean an instant classic. We all mean an instant classic here, okay? Just go subscribe. And also go follow all the social media platforms for the Instant Classic Wrestling Podcast. And I got some more videos coming out later on this week here. I got my AEW Double or Nothing 2022 predictions, so stay tuned for that. I got a few more Judgment Days I'm going to be reviewing. I'm going to be reviewing 05 eventually here. So stay tuned for that as well. And this is your boy Juggernaut. And I will talk to you guys on my next video. So see you guys later.